this side. And then I will start Zoom on this side. So I will walk you through the steps. Okay, caption on this one. I did have some slight modification after going over the steps with the Friday class. Depending on the version that you use for Windows 10 or 11, there are some slight differences in how they change their menu. So we'll touch on that. And I did upload the changes, but I forgot to do that for this class. So I'll talk to you about which one that is. So this is the first time for many of you to use virtual machine if you have not taken my class. You are going to use virtual machine in my class quite a bit, so that way I can have you directly have the hands-on experience configuring the system. You don't have the privilege to do that on the school computer, so this is why we use it. You can also build a home lab strictly out of VM and practice like ethical hacking, forensic, and all kinds of things. So VM is near and dear to me, and you have different options. So we are going to use the Oracle VirtualBox option. So I created these virtual machine for you or for the classes for a while. And all you need is Windows 10. So can you do this on your home computer, Windows PC with Windows 10? Sure. You can do this on your laptop? Sure. All we're doing today is kind of looking at the configuration, but in the future, you are going to modify the configuration. So it's better to do it on the VM and then delete it, right? So you don't have to think about it. Like in my forensic class, they use the VM and they do malware analysis. So that way we can just delete it when it's done and it's not impacting the regular computer. Okay, so you are gonna plug in your Toshiba drive. And if you click on File Explorer like this, the little yellow folder, if you click this PC, right, you would see your Toshiba. So your Toshiba might show a D drive or an E drive. So if you plug in your USB, that might be a D, and then your Toshiba is E. So as long as it's there, you can navigate to it, double click it, and you would find CIS40A VMs. You can copy this entire folder, but it's gonna take a while. All we need today is open this up, right? You're gonna drag or you're gonna copy the Windows 10 VM to your desktop. This is the only folder that you need, okay? All right? Okay. So there are other servers and other, so if you're using a clone, it's exactly the duplicate, so it's fine too. Okay. So I'm just gonna double check and make sure that I delete my stuff here so it doesn't. Okay. So once you drag it to the desktop, it's going to take like 4 minutes or so for it to do that. Depends, usually faster. You're going to double click it to open it up, and you're going to see a subfolder. Open that up again, double click it, and you're going to see two files. So the virtual machine file is the blue icon file, and its drive, like the C drive or the storage, is going to be the orange. Never run from the orange, always run from the blue. Okay, so there are two ways that you can run your virtual machine: through the app, or you can just simply double click this file, the blue file. Okay, so the instruction that I have is the proper way is to use the app. Okay, so now if you use a virtual machine at home, you have to install the hypervisor, the software, right? They did that for you here. So we're gonna call up VirtualBox by searching for the app, click it. Okay. I'm gonna, because I already added, I can't re-add it. So I'm gonna quickly remove this real quick. Okay. So just imagine that I don't have the virtual machine here and I need to add it to the playlist. This is my playlist. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click add. Okay, go to my desktop where I copied the VM, so Windows 10. Open that up and find the blue file. The VBox file is what you need to get it to run. Okay. Again, open up the app by searching it. Right. Once your app is open, it looks like this. Add it to your playlist so you can play. So it's going to open it up inside the Windows, kind of like playing a DVD or a Blu-ray, right? Or a movie. You're going to click add, go to your desktop, find your Windows 10 VM that you copy, open that up, open up the subfolder and click on the blue file. Okay. In the future, we're going to modify the settings a little bit, but we can play it as it is. Now, if you just double click the blue file, it should be able to run fine, right? Without having to go through all of those steps. So it walks you through how to do that. Okay. And then once I have it on the playlist here, I can simply click start. You see how I have multiple virtual machines? You can run as many virtual machines as you need to, right? As long as you have the RAM and the storage to accommodate it. So I'm going to make sure I select the Windows 10 and I'm going to click start. Okay. So it's going to load. And if you have an error right here, right, it's going to tell you fatal error, right? Call me over and I'll help you. So when this message box pop up, it's fine. Non-fatal problem. It's a software issue. Click OK. And your virtual machine is going to be appearing in the black window here. And the host machine is outside. So the first time user, they tend to mix them up. So what they do is they would click outside and try to configure where you don't have the privilege to do that. Everything you're going to do is inside the VM today. Okay. In this window. Okay, all you have to do is click in it right here, and then you should be able to log in. So the password for it is CIS40A with an exclamation point. All caps. So once you have it, here's your virtual machine inside your, it's using your host to play, right? And we use the virtual box for this. So we're going to do everything in here. So the first thing you're going to do, so once I load part A, right, that's just to boot my virtual machine, I would see the desktop like this. Does anyone have problem getting here?
It says I can't open the machine when I try to add it.
Did you copy it to your desktop?
Moving fast.
Oh, it's already running.
Oh, shoot.
Okay, who else?
Excuse me.
Okay. Yes.
How to download the
Virtual box? Yeah. So you would go to virtualbox.org, I think. Here, I'll pull up the website for you. And in the future, you would need to download the extension pack. Okay. So if you want to do this at home, right, you just search for VirtualBox download and it's virtualbox.org. You go to this website, you would select the download. Like if I use a PC, right, you can go to download and it has all different version here. So if you use a Mac, right, find the right version of the Mac. But I recommend, right, I tell this to my forensic student, in the future, when you configure your VirtualBox, you need to download and install the app and the extension pack for this part right here, right? So you just click install and then accept and download and install the extension pack. This allows you to configure USB, mount different things. So it's like modifying and configure your VirtualBox, okay? So you can do that on your system at home if you want to play virtual machine. All right, part B. We're going to use the VM only, and we're going to go ahead and access your device manager. Earlier, I showed you that you can search for it here, but you can also right-click the Windows button, right, and go to Computer Management Console. You're welcome. If you're managing Windows client system like Windows 10, Management Console is your best friend, okay? It gives you all the basic tool that you need, right? Security people always look at Event Viewer and all of those things. But for today, we're going to click Device Manager. So what's another way that I can access Device Manager? Through Control Panel, right? By searching for the app itself. So in Computer Management Console, you're going to click on Device Manager. And how did I get here? Right-click Windows button, go to Computer Management, click that. And remember, this is a pro version of Windows 10, right? Not all version has this option. And you're going to click on Device Manager, which gives you all the hardware that is installed for the system. Then if you see the arrow, you can always expand it. I'm going to click on Network Adapter to expand it. And we are going to, it tells us once you're here, click on Device Manager, click on Network Adapters, right? And then you are going to right click and look at the property. So select the Pro 1000, right click and go to properties. So this is how you can find the details of that adapter, right? And then based on that, you should be able to answer. So where can I find information about when it was installed? Click on Events tab, and you should be able to see when the adapter was installed, right? So as I installed OS, this is a virtual adapter, so it's created at that time, as you can see, right? But at home, if you buy a hardware and you plug it in and you install the driver for it, at that moment in time, it's going to keep a log of it. So once you're in the property sheet, which is going to be the general tab, click on a events tab, and you should see, and you should be able to answer the question for your lab, which is, it says, when was the device installed? When was the device configured? On the events tab, it tells you all of that here. Okay? Any question? So why is this important? Well, sometimes you have to go in and reconfigure the device, right? Or reinstall the device if it goes bad. All right, then we're going to click on the driver tab. We want to see what version of the driver it has before we update, right? So click on the driver tab, and you should see the version right here, right? Now, the date is actually when that driver was created by Microsoft. The install date under the events tab is more accurate on when it was configured and installed, okay? And you can also uninstall the driver, disable the device, right? Update it in here, or right click the actual device. So I can access the driver tab in the property sheet and update, or I can right click the device and choose update, like what we answered earlier. Any question? Okay, so with that, we should be able to answer 13, what version and the date that the driver installed. Like I said, this date is not when it was installed. It was when it was created. Under events is when it tells you when it was installed. Okay. All right. Then what we're going to do is we are going to go to the Advanced tab, and we can look at some of the information on the Advanced tab or the settings. So coming back to your virtual machine, right? You can go to Advanced tab. And here is where, remember we talked about flow control, right? We talked about that last time. You can also set up link speed and duplex. We touched on that today, right? So this is how you can change like jumbo frame and packet, right? All of the stuff that we kind of touch on today and the last couple of weeks kind of come back to here. So the Advanced tab allows you to manually, right, configure some of the options for your transmission of that adapter. Okay, take a screenshot, and then we're going to close the property sheet and the management console. Do not click the big X, click the small lower X inside that, okay? This one, do not click, because if you click the other one, you're going to have to start from the top again to reboot your VM. So click this and close the management console. Okay, so that takes care of B. Any question? Then I'm going to show you another way, right? We want to be able to find, right, our setting information, because since Windows 7 settings become predominant for Windows interface to find details about certain things. So what you're going to do is there are multiple ways to access settings. You can search for settings in here. Everything is searchable, right? Or you can also right-click Windows button and choose settings, right? Some of you do this already. Some of you open up settings by search. That's fine. So this is the default look for settings. Because we're looking at the network adapter, we're going to use network and internet option. So setting is not the same as control panel, slightly different, right? It's still going to contain the same information about your system, but the way that we navigate it is different. That's what I meant. Okay, so we're going to click on network and internet. Then we're going to click on Ethernet, and this is what I modified. We're going to click on unidentified network. So let's do that. Click on network and internet, which is the fourth option on the right-hand side. And it's fine that it tells me that I don't have internet connection. On the left, click Ethernet right here. Okay. And then on the top right, click unidentified network. Click it. This is going to give you the properties of your adapter, just like how you pull up with ipconfig or look into the adapter property sheet earlier. This is another way that you can access it. Okay. Again, I'm going to go through the steps, right? I open up settings by searching for settings. Open that up. I go into network and internet. On the left, I click Ethernet. And then on the right, because it's not seeing the network name, so click unidentified network. And here's my property of my system. Okay. And then we'll come back to the IP address here real quick later. All right, so you should be able to take a screenshot of that for step 18. Then you're going to open up this link. You can press Control and click that, right? So based on the MAC address, right? The MAC address is right here. You see that 0800 where it says physical address? So record it and then use that value on the website. Now, if the hyphen, the dash, the horizontal dash, the hyphen doesn't work, then use the colon as a separator, okay? So record your MAC address and then you're going to be able to use it to look up who made that adapter. Remember that this is virtual adapter, right? So it's going to tell you the vendor information, likely someone contracted with Microsoft to write the adapter, right? It's a little bit different than your actual physical network adapter. So use the MAC lookup app, plug in your MAC address that you found from the last step, and then find out who's the vendor, right? So it asks you, can you locate the organization of the adapter? Who made it? Right? So if it says vendor, then that's the company. And there are other options where you can use Wireshark OUI tool or the Mac Finder tool. Disregard the red part. Skip number 20 and 21. Okay, any question regarding settings and this lookup tool? Okay, another way that you can access your adapter information is through PowerShell. I'm going to emphasize this to everyone. PowerShell is crucial, okay, in Windows systems, administration, in security and IT. So as much exposure as you can for PowerShell is my recommendation. Okay, so practice, because I'm going to give you a couple of labs that has it. And then a year from now, you might forget those things, right? But you can definitely impress some people if you can interview and say, hey, I did this in PowerShell. And sometimes you only have PowerShell to use. So it's good to learn how. Okay. So once we have the settings information, we just close it. And PowerShell it's shipped or it comes with all the current model of Windows OS. Okay, server client. So we're going to open up PowerShell by searching for it. Type in PowerShell and open up the app. So is PowerShell the same as command prompt? Some commands are exactly the same, but the majority of your commands in PowerShell are different. Okay. It uses C-based functions. So when you use, you know how if you learn programming, they tell you to use set or get, right? You're going to see that in PowerShell. So to obtain information, we usually use a get command, where when we put in configuration, we're going to use a set command. And they follow that standard as developer for the PowerShell for Microsoft. Okay. So what we're going to do is in this part, starting from 22, I open up PowerShell and I'm going to type, and PowerShell is not forgiving in space, right? You know, symbols, you know, you have to type as is. Okay. So if you get a bunch of reds, right, output, that means that you just have a typo. So retype your command. Okay. So we're going to obtain information. We're going to, I'm going to try to pull this so you can see together. I'm going to do a get, right, dash net adapter. And this is how you can obtain the information about your NIC or your network adapter. Press enter once you enter the command, and it's going to, you can scroll down. It tells me, oh, this is the Ethernet. Remember the Intel Pro 1000 that we saw earlier, right? It gives us the description. And then if you pull it to the right, you should be able to see. So if you do step 22 correctly, right, it's going to tell you, bless you, this information. Now, some student asked me, how do you know if it's on or if it's available? Is it accessible? Well, the status it tells you is up, right? And then the MAC address, because of my Windows, it's all squeezed right there on the right column. That's how you can find the MAC address information, right? So if I'm able to see it in settings, I should be able to see it in PowerShell this way, right? It's just more text format, and so on. Okay. Now, what we'll do is we are going to also, so take a screenshot, right? What is the highest throughput speed? You should be able to see it there. It would, if you have to open your PowerShell all the way and then scroll right. Okay, you should be able to see the rate. Like 1 gigabit per second, GBps, something in GBps. Okay, the next command we're going to run is going to be ipconfig/all, and we're going to use a pipe. And the key for the pipe is you're going to press shift and the key above your enter key. And we're going to do a find store. We're going to search for the physical description of our adapter. Okay. So this is one way that you can find specific information. So ipconfig /all, and we're going to pipe, right? So a pipe in commands usually allows us to connect two commands together in Windows or Linux. So basically we're running two functions at the same time, two commands at the same time. So we're going to search, we're going to find the configuration for our adapter, and we're going to search for specifically what's in the quotation. So description space physical. And based on the detail, you would know that physical pertains to MAC address, right? So we would press enter, And it tells us the description of our adapter, the name of it that we saw earlier, right? And then there's the MAC address. So we're searching for the description of our adapter and the physical address of our adapter. So that's how you use the PowerShell. Now this is different than command prompt. So if you're using command prompt, right, ipconfig will work, but find str will not work. Okay. All right. So the description of your Ethernet adapter, put down the information, Intel Pro 1000, and then it's the same information, right? Same system. Okay, on the next command, make sure we run the complete command on both lines, right? All the bolded text. Because if you only run the first part, you will not be able to obtain everything that you need. See you. Bye. So we're going to do WMIC, right? And we're going to find the network adapter, right? Where, make sure we type it correctly, physical adapter, one word. I'm going to size this a little bit better. Okay, bye. And we're going to make sure that we have the complete command. So your physical adapter is true. And we're going to get, and we're going to type in the MAC information. So MAC address, one word, as is, comma, name. And if you did everything correctly, oh, it's throwing an error, so I have the address probably misspelled. Yep, I did that last time too. WD. Okay, so if you ran your command correctly, you should have the description and the MAC address. So it is the same information that you get from the last command, right? It just organizes it different. You're using a different command to obtain it. So that's the point, was to show you there are multiple ways to be able to find the description of your adapter and its MAC address, right? To use the WMIC command, or you can also do ipconfig all with the find store, find str, or you can do the other ways to click. So after you have this, take a screenshot. So it shouldn't say step 8 or 9. So compared to the prior step, is it different? It should output the same information, but the way it organized information is different. You get the MAC address and then the description, and we use different command, right? And then answer the question, which step did you like the most? Which step was it through device manager, settings, through your PowerShell, whichever that you like, you can note that. Lastly, once we're done with the PowerShell, we can close. Okay. So expand this, make sure you close the small X, not the big X. And then we're going to open up control panel for the last part. So control panel is most Windows admin favorite tools because you can find everything that you need in control panel. This has been around since XP and prior, right? So what you see is this is the traditional way that we normally navigate to. Now you use settings or other things, right? So in control panel, similar to settings, you're going to have network and internet. So your network adapter is going to fall under this applet. So we're going to go ahead and click this. And when you click the network and internet, you're going to see a small link at the top where it says network status and task. You're going to click that right under the green label. Okay. network status and tasks. So look at the small link underneath the title. And in that, you're gonna see, after I click network status and tasks, I'm gonna be able to look at my Ethernet connection. So there's my adapter. You click on your adapter, Ethernet, right? And here you should be able to click on details and you should see everything that you saw in settings before. So again, let me walk you through it, right? I know sometimes I'm a little quick. All right, so open up control panel by searching for it. And this is step 27 and on. So type control panel and then click the app. Once this is open, I'm going to click network and internet because that's where my adapter will be. And then at the top, you're going to find the blue link under Network Sharing Center. It should say View Network Status and Tasks, the little small link right here. Click that applet. And then you're going to click on your adapter, which is Ethernet. Click it. And click Details button. So all of this information pertains to your adapter. It's IP address, it's subnet mask, it's MAC address. So where can I find the MAC? Physical address on second line, the description, all of the things related to your adapter. Take a screenshot. Then we're going to close our details information. Now be nice to your virtual machine in case you need to use it again, right? I'm just going to teach you this, so likely that we will just recopy it again, but shut it down like you shut down a computer. Click Windows button, power, shut down, and let it go, okay? And then when it's done, it's going to close, detach your drive, return it. Make sure we save all the screenshots because I have students on Friday that they did all of it and they don't know, they couldn't find the screenshot information. They had to do it all over again. So save your screenshot. You can put on your OneDrive or USB or wherever. So for the lab for this week, right, I just need some screenshot and the completed answer to some of the questions to show that you have done it. If you do this on your laptop, that's fine. The output is going to be slightly different. So, but I want you to have exposure to the end. Okay. We should have a little bit more than 30 minutes. So the class ends at like 8:30. Now it's 7:50. So if you want to work on the cable, if you're done, you're welcome to do that. The equipment is in the back. I refer to the product ramps and people. And I bought some new testers, so there's a coax tester. Let me stop my Zoom so you can video soon. Let me know if you need help or have questions.
Good. Yeah. That way, no matter what, have one that